The Lonely Road. Chapter 1. The Long Goodbye. I've always been a strong one, the rock my siblings could lean on in times of need. After all, it's what Mom would have wanted me to do. Be brave and look out for them after Dad left us. But now, with both parents gone, I feel hollow inside, like a shell of the person I once was. The weight of their deaths still lingers heavily within me, suffocating me each night as I lay in bed, unable to shake the memory of those final moments we spent together before they vanished into thin air. I can't bear the thought of losing my little brother and sister too. It's a fear that grips at my heart like icy claws every time I look into their teared, stained faces. I take a deep breath as I pack a few essential items into an old duffel bag. Clothes, water, snacks, and a first aid kit. It's not much, but it'll have to do for now. The thought of driving alone down the winding roads seems daunting at best. Yet here I am standing in front of my childhood home with a heavy heart and trembling hands gripping the strap tightly. Be strong, I whisper to myself, as if trying to convince those same siblings who wait behind the door. Their worried eyes meet mine through the glass, their small faces pale but hopeful. "Jenna, where are you going?" Emily asks, her voice barely audible over her sniffles. I force a smile and press my hand against the window pane, meeting their gaze directly. "Just for a little while, kiddo. I need some space to think." The truth is I'm running. From grief, from responsibilities, from a fear of losing myself completely. Mom always said that the open road could heal any wound. Perhaps she was right. Grief that's stricken and tired, I close the door behind me, locking it with a click. A single car horn echoes in the distance as I step onto the porch. The old Camaro I inherited from Dad roars to life under my fingers, and we're off into the fading sunlight. The vast highway stretches out before us like an endless journey into oblivion. The miles pass slowly but steadily until darkness sets in, casting a shadow over the familiar landscape. I planned this trip carefully. No hotels or populated areas. Just me, the car, and solitude. As night begins to fall, my mind starts to wander back to those fateful nights when I used to sit on a roof with Dad, watching stars that seemed endless. He spoke of worlds beyond our own, telling tales of love and loss interwoven in celestial bodies we could only imagine. Tonight, I hope those stories will be enough to guide me through the dark hours ahead. Hours later, I find myself navigating narrow roads lined by twisted oak trees that reach for the sky like skeletal fingers. The GPS insists I'm miles from civilization. My stomach growls with hunger and tiredness as I pass a deserted signpost. Welcome to Raven's Peak, a name that sends an ominous shiver down my spine. Yet it's too late now to turn back. Exhaustion begins to cloud my thoughts. The headlights cast eerie shadows on the asphalt beneath us. Distracted by the navigation system, the car veers slightly off course before correcting itself, and I glance up at the rearview mirror. A figure standing there for a brief moment, dressed in an old coat with a fedora that makes him almost invisible against the darkness. My heart pounds as I swerve onto the shoulder to get a better look, but he's gone. Shaking my head, I refuel and fill up on coffee at a station with only a single attendant. A grizzled old man who shares tales of local legends and ghostly apparitions in this very town. "You shouldn't be driving so late," he warns over the counter while taking payment from me with gnarled hands. His words are tinged with an unsettling dread that makes me wonder if he's not referring to more than just the road conditions. I thank him, swallowing hard as my eyes well up at his empathy. The miles continue. Emptiness fills the vehicle, interrupted only by radio chatter and distant howls of wolves or coyotes. The sky above is an abyss of inky darkness now, stars smothered by a thick layer of clouds that seem to cling to the car's exterior like a sinister shroud. Fatigue overtakes me as headlights fade into the distance. I switch to night vision mode on my cell phone display, relying on its feeble glow to guide me through the unending stretch of trees and abandoned farms. The eerie silence is broken by an unusual whisper, soft yet unmistakable, from somewhere up ahead. Jenna. I freeze behind the wheel, skin crawling with goosebumps. A strange compulsion pulls me forward toward a house in disrepair, half hidden behind overgrown vegetation. Smoke curls from its chimney as I slow to a halt beneath the flickering porch light. A single window glows, illuminated by a lone candle's flame. No lights save for that solitary, dancing flame. The whisper seems to beckon me closer still. It echoes in my mind. Jenna. My curiosity gets the better of reason, and I step out into the misty night, boots sinking into damp earth as I approach on shaky legs. A chill sweeps over me despite the thick denim jacket wrapped around me. At the porch steps, a name etched onto the weathered wooden door catches my eye. Gideon. With hesitant hands, I rap 3 times against the door before taking refuge under the awning. No response. As night deepens further, it's almost as if I'm waiting for someone to save me from myself in this vast darkness. In time, an old man emerges. Gideon, his wrinkled face etched with age and wisdom. His eyes are kind yet haunted, like those of a soul carrying unspoken burdens. Lost? He asks, gesturing toward the door. I nod, my voice caught behind my throat. He invites me in for tea as night descends further still, casting an otherworldly glow on his worn parlor. His tales weave stories of loss and longing, of this town's dark past. Whispers of a girl named Jenna who perished here, her spirit trapped between worlds, forever seeking peace. I try to brush it off as superstition, but the whispering grows louder in my mind. Jenna, find me. Gideon notices the dread etched across my face. The night holds many secrets, he says enigmatically before showing me to a bed on the loft of his creaky house, promising a hearty breakfast and safe passage come dawn. As I drift into an uneasy sleep amidst the musty smell of aged books and old wood, the whispering intensifies, now almost a chant, until it feels as though I'm being summoned somewhere. Chapter 2. Whispers on Willow Lane. I awaken to thick fog that seems to swallow everything in its path, reducing visibility to mere feet. Gideon hands me steaming tea and a plate of biscuits. His stories linger on my lips like an unsettling hum. The whispering persists outside. Jenna, come home. A shiver courses down my spine as I part the curtains, searching for any sign of life in this eerie vale. Fog swirls within, masking the world beyond Gideon's property lines. In that moment, something moves beyond the glass. A fleeting shadow in front of his house across the way, then gone. The fog presses against the panes, obscuring all but the outline of a cottage with smoke billowing from its chimney. It must be Gideon's doing this time of night. Fueled by curiosity and fear, I decide to investigate when he leaves for an early firewood run. A few steps out, my foot falls muffled in the wet earth. Smoke drifts from within as I peer through a dusty window. A single flame that dances like a witch's cauldron, casting shadows that seem to move of their own accord. The door opens with a slow squeak. Dusty artifacts clutter shelves. It's more than just an old man's life on display here. My gaze lands upon an oil lamp with a name etched onto its surface. Jenna. Another chill sweeps over me as I touch the glass, leaving smudges behind. Gideon catches my hand to prevent a slip and leads me deeper. In his study, he speaks of a portal between worlds, hidden within these woods where spirits find peace or torment. I turn to leave, but notice writing on parchment sheets. Find me, scribbled repeatedly like a plea in black ink. The oil lamp flickers wildly before going out. Shadows swirl around us, as if living things have entered. The door slams shut behind us, sealing us inside. I back away from Gideon with a whisper growing louder now. An urgent call to follow a path through the fog that will reveal more secrets than I can imagine. Before he can explain, a gust forces both of us toward the threshold and out into Raven's Peak Woods. Dampness seeps between my boots as we tread the unmarked trail, the chanting in harmony with each step until it becomes almost deafening. Jenna. Trees close in. Fog thickens to waist level. Another gust stings my face, and I lose sight of Gideon behind me. Only his voice carried on the wind. Run. The woods themselves seem to be calling me forward. Fog swirls like a living entity as an unseen force carries us towards something ancient and unsettling. Then it materializes, a narrow doorway to a hidden world, pulsating with an eerie green light that could burn my skin if I stare too long. My throat tightens. Gideon gestures in silence before disappearing through its maw. The whisper drops away, leaving only the sound of heavy breathing and an otherworldly wind in our wake as we descend spiraling stairs into darkness. A labyrinth of forgotten souls. A chill seeps from below that has nothing to do with the dank air. The floorboards vibrate beneath us, echoing with each step. At the bottom, light returns in flashes, revealing stone walls covered in ancient symbols and strange artifacts. Ahead, an iron door awaits, adorned with what resembles a girl's portrait. Jenna. A key hangs suspended between two hinges. My name seems to resonate as I take it and unlock the heavy door with trembling hands. A threshold beckons, mist swirling beyond. Icy air seeps through my collar when stepping out into a world that shouldn't exist. We stand before an ancient burial site where weathered stones bear tales of love, death, loss, and Jenna's inscription on one grave, etched by the light of full moons. Gideon whispers a single word, "Fine," and vanishes back upstairs while I stare down into something inexplicable. Chapter 3. The Final Turn. The unearthly howls return outside my room, but the chanting has stopped. An unsettling silence settles over Raven's Peak. Jenna's portrait still hangs above my bed now, her eyes wide with a silent plea for peace. Gideon tells me about Jenna, who died in these woods long ago, never found until today by me. In his study, he speaks of another, a mysterious girl named Lena who disappeared while searching for solace. He hands over an old map, tracing the route she took. Lena's journey. It reads, a path through treacherous terrain and perhaps otherworldly realms. My heart races as I follow faint trails into darkness and the unsettling wind that carries those long, forgotten words. Jenna, find me. The ground rises to meet me and falls away. Each step feels heavy with an unseen weight. Shadows dance upon my path, Lena's ghostly form flitting between trees. A gust rips at my hood as if summoned by something watching from behind the veil of foliage. Or in front of it. Jenna's spirit appears ahead, ethereal, yet solid enough to draw blood when I touch her outstretched hand. Her translucent eyes well with tears before Gideon finds me outside, crouched between reality and death. "You're not alone," he says as a gust nearly sends us back up the winding path. Lena materializes near Jenna's grave, hands clasped in anguish. A ghostly figure joins them both, beckoning me toward an ancient entrance. Stone steps leading into Raven's Peak's belly. The wind intensifies while Lena reaches out, pleading with ghostly eyes to find me. I don't resist as she leads us through the opening, down steep stairs that might have swallowed us whole. At the bottom lies a crypt, and it's here I find Lena, alive yet trapped in an eternal slumber that feels like death. Her eyes widen with recognition and dread before something beyond the living takes her from my grasp, leaving behind a chilling whisper. "Run!" As I stumble back up into daylight, Lena's ghostly form stands between Jenna and me once more. In the heart of Raven's Peak, an unearthly cry shakes us both to our cores, shattering Lena's slumber. We run back up those steps, back through stone doors, over roots, until she disappears within the earth above. The wind dies as we emerge at a precipice, overlooking Jenna's final rest. In that moment of hushed silence, I realize my own connection, a missing girl from another time and place. As Lena vanishes into nothingness once more, Jenna takes Gideon's hand instead. We return to that long-buried door, the entrance to this world, then disappear like one ghostly spirit in the night. I'm found by Gideon back at the old manor, his eyes red with loss and regret, holding Lena's clothes. He tells me I am Jenna. Jenna is Lena. I have a life to reclaim. All while the portrait watches from above my bed as an old man falls asleep behind us, his heart burdened by these secrets for far too long. The girl in black has finally found what she was searching for: peace. The girl in white's journey ends tonight,